What a beautiful morning it is here at Glenbrook Middle School, part of the Mountain Diablo Unified School District. I thank all of you for coming here today, and we ordered the right weather. It's a beautiful day. I want you to know a little bit about our school. We're a very struggling school. We have a lot of ELL population. We have low-income students. We struggle each day. Our teachers struggle. Now we're faced with losing 4 teachers, a number of bilingual aides, and campus supervision. This is what we're going to be faced with now. The community itself is in need. I've always told our students that the great equalizer is education. The way that we bring ourselves up is with education. What we're asking today is please support education. The only way that we're going to create a workforce for the 21st century and make sure that California remains one of the greatest economies in the world is to have a workforce that is ready and able to do that. Our staff is working hard. To give you a little bit of information, one of the staff members that has received a layoff notice is going to speak to you in a few moments. She is one example of many that we have on our campus. She works more than 50 hours a week, attends in-service training as part of the UC Berkeley's history grant, and has just done a marvelous job here. And without her efforts, we wouldn't be where we are today. Thank you, and I now introduce you to Emily Noretto, history teacher.
Thank you, Gary, members of the press. I want to speak today about my concern as a new teacher. I left a promising career as a lawyer. I was in law school, and while in law school, I talked to a number of youth offenders that were being more successful than others, and they said the reason why that they were successful is because they were at a program that had teachers in it. And those teachers were the ones that cared about them and that wanted them to be successful. And that's why I left, to make a positive impact on my community. I came to Glenbrook to make that impact, and I'm excited that I've been able to do that. But I'm concerned as a new teacher that I'm not able to continue to do that, and that our students really are the ones that are going to suffer when they don't have exemplary teachers and staff that is going to support them, that they're not going to have small enough class sizes to really get the help that they need. But I am excited to introduce to you one of my students who really has taken this concerning issue on as her own, and she's actually created a petition, and I'd like her to speak just a moment. Natalie.
Okay, Natalie. Hey.
Good morning. My name is Natalie Richardson, and I'm an 8th grader here at Glenbrook. I started this petition because I don't want our budget cut. Today, my classmates and I will start circulating and send this petition to Sacramento.
Hey.
Thank you, Natalie.
All right.
All right, good morning. My name is Mike Nochi. I'm the president of the Mount Diablo Education Association. And with me here this morning are some Mount Diablo teachers who received notices stating that they may not be back next year helping the students of Mount Diablo. They are Emily, an 8th grade teacher here at Glenbrook that you just heard from, Stephanie Swawinski, a Mount Diablo high school teacher, Cherie Gann, a 1st grade teacher at Ignacio Valley Elementary, Gabe Lucero, a kindergarten 1st grade teacher at Rio Vista, Diana Satana, a Mount Diablo ELD teacher. Also here is a BITSA coach, Elena Noble, and she works with these new teachers that are receiving these layoff notices. You're going to hear from Stephanie and Cherie in a few minutes, and then the other teachers will be happy to talk with you after the press conference. The governor's proposed $4.8 billion cut to public education will have a devastating impact on California schools, and it's already having a devastating impact here in Mount Diablo, where our district has had to make over $13 million in cuts, resulting into close to 190 layoff notices going out over the weekend, the elimination of kindergarten class size reduction, and cutting back library services at the secondary level. If enacted, the governor's budget proposal will fund education at $4 billion below the level that the voters mandated when they passed Prop 98 in 1988, which guaranteed minimum funding for schools. Classrooms should come first. We should do everything we can this year to protect education funding and improve classroom results. But the constant threat of budget cuts and layoffs is a dark cloud that hangs over the head of many dedicated educators. As sad and devastating as this situation is, it's California students who will suffer the most as a consequence of this $4.8 billion budget cut to education. Our students deserve the opportunity to learn, and it's imperative that the governor and the legislature does what it takes to give them that opportunity. We can't say to the kids at Glenbrook Middle School and the other schools throughout California to wait a few years until the economy turns around so we can make sure we'll give you the attention they need to ensure a quality education. The teachers of Mount Diablo thank Senators Parada and Torlakson and Assemblyman DeSagne in our local area here and the other members of the legislature that are trying to prevent these devastating cuts. We urge the governor and the legislature to solve this problem quickly, and we urge them to solve it in a way that doesn't punish California students or the educators who work with them. Our schools and students need protection from these cuts. They need a reliable and stable source of funding. California schools have been making progress. Let's not undermine that now. If the governor and the legislature act responsibly, they will stop these cuts, and the 14,000 teachers throughout California who receive pink slips will still be providing California students the education they deserve. Now I'd like to introduce Stephanie Swazwinski, who would like to say a few words. Stephanie?
Thank you, Mike. My name is Stephanie Slawinski, and I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a 25-year resident of Contra Costa County, but today I'm here to tell you that I am a teacher at Mount Diablo High School in Concord, California. I'm not only a teacher, I'm a highly qualified teacher. I'm a passionate teacher, a knowledgeable and dedicated English and ELD teacher at Mount Diablo. I'm a victim now of not one, but 2 layoff notices in the past 4 years. When I tell people of my layoff notice, they tell me things like, "Everything happens for a reason, honey," or "You're so great, you'd make a difference at any school." The bottom line is, I don't want to go to another school. Despite Mount Diablo High School's rough reputation, I know that that is where I make a difference, and I wouldn't teach anywhere else. I cannot fathom losing another precious teaching job that would destroy the relationships that I have so tenderly built with my students at Mount Diablo High School. I do lack seniority, but that does not mean that I am disposable or replaceable. Our students are children who have so little, but the one thing that they do have is the desire to learn and help their families improve their situations. They depend on me and my fellow teachers at our school, not only to be an educator, but a counselor and a guide to help them change their lives through education. Just the thought of taking dedicated teachers away from these needy children is demoralizing, it is shameful, and it is wrong. It is insulting to deny the future. Thank you. It is insulting to deny the future of our country, the one constant thing that they can depend on in their lives, the stability, the love, and the learning that we as their teachers provide. It is a shame that I even have to be here today to tell you this, because it is taking precious teaching and learning time away from my students. But I must fight for this day so that tomorrow I will not be gone forever. Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to introduce Cherie Gain.
Good morning. My name is Cherie Gann, and this is my first year teaching in Mount Diablo Unified, but my 5th year as a teacher. I'm also a wife and a mother, and I can remember wanting to be a teacher since I was 2 years old. I bored my mother endlessly with making her be my student for many, many, many years. I did receive a pink slip notice on Saturday, and my husband is also a teacher. He's a temporary employee, so while he did not receive a pink slip notice, he can be let go for any reason and not rehired for the next year. We are both looking outside of education so that we have some job stability and some security to be able to meet the needs of our family. And I'm saddened by the thought of cutting $4.8 billion from education. I feel it's going to be a loss of passionate and dedicated educators in our state, and that there's so many wonderful, qualified teachers who make a difference every day in the lives of our students and your children who are going to leave the profession to find something that will meet their needs financially. I'm concerned with raising class sizes, especially in the lower grades, and I'm not sure how we will balance increasing class sizes and meeting the demands of No Child Left Behind. The students are our future. My license plate frame says, "I touch the future, I am a teacher," and I am just so concerned about the future of not only our teachers, but our students and our states. And we just simply cannot afford to cut $4.8 billion from education. I would now like to introduce to you introduce to you Dr. Joe Ovick.
Good morning. As County Superintendent of Schools in Contra Costa, I'm greatly concerned about the 166,000 children in Contra Costa County who attend public schools and will be denied the appropriate education they need because as of last week, as a result of the $4.8 billion proposed shortfall in public education, we had to notice approximately 500 credentialed employees throughout Contra Costa County. That includes district staff, county office staff, teaching staff. That doesn't include the classified staff that if indeed the $4.8 billion reduction does occur, they too will also lose their jobs. It is will have a tremendous detrimental impact on our children and their future. Our kids did not create the budget shortfall in the state of California. They should not be responsible for addressing the burden that we have created as a result of poor budget balancing in Sacramento. We need to let our governor know that this is not Hollywood. This is real. This will have an impact on our children. It'll have an impact on families throughout the state. To give you an idea of the magnitude of $4.8 billion and its impact on children, we appropriated approximately $1 billion last year for K-12 education in Contra Costa County. So in essence, the governor's proposing that we take away 4 times the amount of money that it costs to serve 166,000 children in California and continue to serve them throughout the state. Personally, I am remiss that I never had an opportunity to be in the Peace Corps. But what our governor is proposing is going to allow me, if he succeeds, which I hope he does not, to be able to strive for a world-class educational system with third world funding. We can't allow that to happen. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Senator Tom Torlakson. Tom?
I'm going to turn the mic over first to Sharon Meadows, a parent. Let's hear the voice of the parents.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Meadows, and I'm representing Glenbrook. I'm also representing Mount Diablo School District. My children have been there since preschool. And I want to say to you and to the public that we need everyone's support. We need the parents, more support for the parents. We need more support from our community because we need our teachers. Our teachers are the future for our students. And our students get a role model from our teachers. Most of the teachers here at Mount Diablo School District our students look up to our Mount Diablo School District teachers and our administrators, and my children also. So I want to reach out to the public, to the community, to the state, that we need our teachers. We need the budgets not to be cut for our teachers. We need our teachers for our future, for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, and thanks to everyone who's here. We're standing together. We're standing to fight these cruel, shameful cuts, and we must look at the positive side. We must appeal to the governor in a united way to stop this craziness. I am honored to be here also because I taught students who came from this school to my classrooms over at Mount Diablo High School. I'm honored to be here with teachers who are so articulate and passionate and committed, as we have heard from Emily and Cherie and Stephanie. And it's 14,000 teachers across this state that are facing the same dilemma and the same tragedy. And so together we will turn this around. Back in the 1970s, when Senator Parada and I were in the classroom teaching, and Senator Parada, by the way, has taken this roadshow as teachers around the state, as legislators, to listen, to hear what's going on. When we were in the classroom in the 1970s, we were at the top of the nation in performance. And no coincidence, we were top in the nation in what we spent per pupil. We invested, and the results were there. We've retreated incrementally too far to being 47th in the nation in per pupil spending, and down at the bottom of the nation, 48th, 49th in some of our math scores and our English language learning and our science skills. This is a retreat that has to stop. We must turn it around. This kind of linking of arms. Don't cut education. Education's number one. Classrooms come first. Don't balance the budget on the backs of our youth. These are the messages that we're seeing across the state that combine with the high hopes of parents, the high hopes of students. We can't take away from these students the kind of inspirational, young, talented teachers and take away from them their dreams and shatter their dreams. And so we can turn this around. Even the governor's own, ironically, even the governor's own Commission on Education Excellence says we need to add, not subtract. When we were teaching math, Parada, you taught a little bit of math. I taught some math. There was new math, but this is bad math. This is terrible math, what's going on right now. This is terrible math. Taking away $5 billion instead of listening, the governor, listen to your own Commission on Education Excellence. They are telling you, the experts around the state who've listened to parents and teachers, they're telling you add 10, 11 billion, not subtract 5 billion. This devastation must not occur. We stand with you. The legislative colleagues we have here today stand united with the parents, with the teachers, with the students, and student leaders like Natalie. I was down in Rialto. I was in Pomona. We're down in Los Angeles. We're hearing that students are mobilizing too. Their voice must be heard. It's their future, their dreams that we stand for. Thank you, Natalie, and other students who are mobilizing across California. So I have high hopes as we see rallies like this, organization like this, momentum like this, that we will turn this around. Governor, please listen to the youth of California. I am next pleased to introduce to you a good friend, a friend of children, a friend of schools, a colleague who is a champion for education, Martha Saunier.
Well, thanks, Tom. First, let me welcome you to Concord. Tom and I have represented this area for a long time, and it's a day of pride for both of us to see you here fighting for the right things. It's just crazy to think that here we stand in the wealthiest country in the wealthiest state of the world and talk about cutting an education system that needs more money, not less money. The governor says we have a spending problem. We have a spending problem. We're not spending enough money on kids. We're spending too much money on the wealthy friends that he's trying to protect. I'm proud to be here with, as Tom said, a former teacher, Senator Parada, a former teacher, these people who care about the most vulnerable Californians. It's been said that you can judge a society by how it treats its most vulnerable. Well, you can judge politicians by how they treat the most vulnerable. This is a completely unexplainable, unacceptable situation. We shouldn't be standing here fighting against cuts. We should be standing here fighting for more money for young people. It's my pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure to introduce another great East Bay Democratic member of the legislature, Senator Ellen Corbett.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud to be here today as well. I'm visiting from neighboring Alameda County and Contra Costa County. The last few weeks, I have been visited on several occasions by very worried parents, worried teachers, worried administrators, and worried classified employees. In our state, over 10,000 pink slips went out over this weekend. You already heard approximately 500 here in this county, and hundreds in the counties I represent as well. These are employees and teachers who every day take care of our children. When we drop them off in the morning, they are there taking care of them while we go off to work. I want to say that I am embarrassed to serve with colleagues that are so far supporting the $4.8 billion cuts that the governor has proposed. I, on the natural, understand that we must do this not just for our children's future, but for our children's present. And we have brave students like who you heard from this morning that are willing to speak out and let people know that just because they happen to be going to school at this time, they should not be hurt by these cuts. This is ridiculous. I cannot understand that some of my colleagues tell the press, oh, this is just a drill. This is just a scare tactic. This does nothing to help the economy. Well, how dare they? Obviously, our young children are the people who will be running the companies, who will do the work that throw us back up to the top in our economy. We have budget issues because of the economy. So why would someone think hurting education is going to help that situation? Let me just say I'm very happy to be here this morning to support in solidarity all of the people that are here, and we need to do whatever we can here in Alameda County, Contra Costa County, Santa Clara County, throughout the state. We are very blessed in this area. We have legislators who will stand and fight and find the resources for our children. Any of you who have family, belong to associations, know anybody in the parts of the state where those other legislators have not yet joined the majority, those that will allow us the 2/3 to save our schools and help our kids, contact them now. Go on the road, move them to our side. We need the votes. We can do this. Let the governor know we will not accept this. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to introduce the next speaker, Senator Joe Simitian. Joe is a former school board member. Joe is the chair of the Budget Subcommittee on Education. Let's welcome Joe Simitian, Senator Joe Simitian.
Thank you all very much. Well, I think there are some things we need to ask and answer. We need to ask ourselves, when we talk about creating a society of equal opportunity, what makes that real? And it's our schools. When we talk about training young people to be successful in getting to those high-wage, high-skill jobs in Silicon Valley, the area I represent, what makes that possible? It's our schools. When we talk about our security in an unsettled world, what's going to make that possible? It's our schools. So when we talk about these issues as abstract budget items or as something that happens in a remote state capital, we ought to remember that it's about equal opportunity, it's about economic competitiveness, and it's about global survival. Those are the issues we're talking about when we gather today in this lawn. Now, you heard reference earlier to something called Proposition 98, the voter-approved measure from 1988 that was supposed to be a voter-approved constitutional guarantee of a minimum funding level for our schools. And you have to ask the governor, well, what happened to voter approved? Does that not matter? What happened to constitutional guarantees? Does that not matter? And how did we get to the point where we want to cut $4 billion from what was supposed to be the minimum funding level that was guaranteed to the kids in this state? It's not abstract. It's not just numbers. It's real lives, real kids, real futures that depend on the effort that we're taking to Sacramento. You are the grassroots, ground-level voices that can make that effort successful. I want to thank you for being here today, and I want to encourage you to keep asking those questions until you get the right answers from every single member of the California State Legislature and from the governor of the state of California. And the person who's going to keep pushing that agenda forward is our President Pro Tem, Don Parada. Don, please.
Thank you, Joe. And thanks to all who are here. I'm taking my glasses off because I want somebody to see my eyes and see if it looks like we're fooling. Democrats will never leave Sacramento as long as the governor intends to cut education by a dime. People here have spoken articulately and from the heart to the heart about what's at stake here. But what we really need to do is not leave what we hear here today here. We have to bring it to the people in this state who are the decision makers, who move capital, who create jobs. They're the ones who continuously talk about education as the cornerstone to the new economy. Now, there is a grave difference between what they say and what we are doing. We have to get into the game the major businesses of this state: Chevron, Intel, Gallo, my favorite, Oracle, Google, Apple, Qualcomm, Pixar. Up and down the state, we have huge businesses, huge publicly traded companies that rely upon educated workforces to grow their businesses. We are handing out pink slips when we are also asking to hand out visas to bring workers in from a foreign country because our kids cannot do the job because they have not had the benefit of an adequate education. Now, what the hell kind of sense does that make? So if you've signed one of these forms, in addition to getting some junk mail you wish you hadn't received, we're going to put these to work. You sign one of these, and we're going to connect you with the business leaders of this state. We're going to ask for meetings with CEOs and human resource directors of major companies up and down the state. We're going to go to their campuses, and we're going to leaflet, so in case they haven't seen the television, in case they don't read newspapers, they will find out exactly what it is that we are doing. Kids didn't create this problem. It's sinful. It's immoral to make them pay for it. So I promise you that your time will not be wasted. I know every person here has better things to do, even on a nice day like this, to stand outside and decry the state of California's economy and its future. But if we don't do it, rest assured, nobody else will. It falls to us to take this fight to the streets, to take this fight to the boardrooms, to let those who depend upon us to buy their wares, that they have to get into this game. There is no Republican or Democratic way to teach a child. There is only the right way and no way. And we are headed towards no way. We have a prison system right now that costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year per inmate, and we are paying less than $10,000 a year for a student in elementary school. If the governor's proposal were to go through, 107,000 teachers would be fired. That nice antiseptic term, we pink slip them, we furlough them, you're firing them. Now, what does that say to every young person who wants to go in education? Don't. If they wanted to go in education, you know one thing about them already, they're not stupid. So if people are leaving the classroom, why are they going to try to get into that classroom? So we are eating our seed corn. The governor also proposes to take $24,000 per classroom and put it somewhere else, to pay off a debt, to put it in the prisons. Wherever it's going, it's not going into the classroom. Take $24,000 out of a classroom, and you are taking $800 away from every single student in that classroom. Those are the real terms. Those are the real realities. So I ask all of you today to join with us at the beginning of what promises to be a long fight. We are asked, how do you propose to make up that $4.8 billion? Well, we're going to cut services that we consider to be non-essential in order to protect education. But rest assured, you cannot make $4.8 billion up without new revenues. There is no way you can do that. And those of you that came here this morning and stopped for a latte or a chai tea, whatever that is, we're really just talking about that kind of money in this state from its residents. We hear nothing but bad news coming from Washington, D.C. today and from Wall Street. Wall Street got fat. We are paying for it. Bear Stearns, trading at $30 last week, was sold yesterday for $2 a share. Why? Because they've incurred a huge amount of debt because of the mortgage crisis. Now, what does that mean to us? It means that we are paying every way we know right now. Can we afford to pay more? No, we can't. Will we have to? Yes, we will. Anybody that makes money in the numbers that they do in this state are going to always be protected by tax lawyers and accountants. It's always the working class, it's always the middle class that have to bear the burden and provide the sacrifice. So we're going to do it again. Our parents did it, our grandparents did it, and now we're going to do it. All I can hope for is that these fine individuals with whom I've had the pleasure of working for years in Sacramento will have the kind of support that I see here today up and down the state. So fill out this card, strap them up, and get ready to go. Because we're going to go until there is no left in going. And we're going to see the people who speak the language that those in Sacramento seem not to understand. And they will convince others that the economy of this state and the future of this state is predicated on the teachers in the classroom and the kids that are being promoted and graduated in this state. Thank you. The problem is when you bat ninth, there's nobody else behind you. So if there are any questions of any of the real people here? Sure.
Superintendent Gary.
You look like a real person. Come right up here.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming, and I certainly want to thank these legislators for coming out and leading us in this rally. I just wanted to lend my voice to the impact of budget reductions in the Mount Diablo Unified School District. We have sent out over 300 layoff notices for teachers. As of last Tuesday, we have reduced 145 positions in our districts. Out of those 145 positions, 86 are teachers, 18 are administrators, including 11 vice principals at the elementary and the high schools. The chief financial officer, director of research, director of technology support, director of special education. We have 13 maintenance, custodial, and grounds positions and a site technology technician. There are 13 clerical support positions. There are 3 psychologists. There are 12 paraprofessionals, special educational assistants, bilingual assistants, instructional assistants, campus supervisors who support those classrooms. This budget reduction has been devastating to our school district. People should not lose their job in any good organization for non-performance reasons. As was stated earlier by our legislators, if we're trying to get people to join our schools, to support our schools, to work in our schools, and the threat that you're going to lose your job and it wasn't your fault because of flawed policies by the governor, that is just irresponsible on my part. So I am glad that everybody's here. Please take the message to go forward, And let's continue to fight, because we have to get more funding for education. We have to protect Proposition 98 and go further from there. So I just wanted to lend my voice to all that has been said here today. And thank you all for coming.
Everybody who you are.
I'm Gary McHenry, Superintendent of the Mount Diablo School District.
Maybe we'll take a few questions if anybody has any questions.
Is anybody discussing the luxury tax for boats that are kept out of California for 6 months? They don't have to pay for their tax.
We did. We have discussed that, and it was a small thing. It's worth $26 million, probably 100 teachers. And I'm proud to say that in the Senate, Republicans and Democrats together voted for that. It unfortunately did not pass the Assembly. But that's going to be, that's just a skirmish in a long battle that we're going to have. Yes. Well, the keys to the kingdom are held by the Republicans. So, as an example, Guy Houston, who went to the same college that I went to here in Moraga, St. Mary's, Guy has a vote. And it would be very important, I think, for him to represent your interests, and you need to talk to him about that. He's also seeking to serve you on the Board of Supervisors. So that's a good example, because in this area, we all we talk to ourselves a lot. We go to church, we talk about the same thing, and then we leave, and we're at the same hymnal. Everything's the same. But really, we go to the Central Valley. You go to a place called the Inland Empire, which is it's kind of like quite the evil empire, but it's down there with San Bernardino and Riverside. They're represented by Republicans. But I tell my colleagues, these are the same kids. They're not being educated any better than they are in Democratic districts. So this has really got nothing to do with partisanship. And this idea that I took a tax pledge and I will never raise a tax, I mean, that's childish. That is just childish.
Oil profits, windfall profits?
Well, the Assembly tried to do an oil, what we used to call an oil severance tax. Here's the thing. Everything that we think, everything that we've thought of, everything that we've said we cannot do is now in front of us on the table. The governor has said that. He has said even taxes are on the table. So what we're going to do is continue to talk about what our options are, what the variables are, the alternatives, what cuts we're going to make. Because when we get into the hot summer, we don't have a budget, and we're going to have to negotiate with our colleagues across the line, then everything that we've ever wanted to think about, we're going to talk about. And I'm hopeful that in that context, with the leadership of the governor, we will be able to solve the problem. At the very minimum, we should fully fund Prop 98. But down the road, we should never find ourselves in this position again.
Hear, hear.
One more, and then we'll let you guys.
Is there any hope for reinstating the vehicle license?
Well, I'll tell you, I think anybody that was any of my colleagues who were there probably will tell you that was one of the dumbest things we've ever done. And back when Wilson was governor, and he thought this was going to sweep the country. One other state did it, Virginia, and they repealed it. But the governor came in office on this, promising he would do it. So I think the governor would probably find himself in a difficult position. It did, however, take $6 billion out of our budget, which is just about what we're in debt right now. That's the deficit. So we have to make that up. We gave it back to people. We gave it back to people who drive cars in California, which has always been amazing. But we're going to have to get it back one way or the other. Thank you all very much for being here.